Everybody's ready. 5 minutes out from kickoff. Do or die time for South Africa. South Korea need only to avoid defeat. You are listening to World Cup Game Day live on TalkSport, brought to you by Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app. Teams are as follows then as the two sets of players break away with the handshakes into their own respective halves. South Africa have Williams in goal. 8 of the team play domestically in South Africa for the top two teams. 4 from Mamelodi and 4 from Orlando Pirates, the champions. The back four unchanged is Mudau, Ocon, Makazi and Modiba. In midfield it's Mbata, Mofokeng who comes into the side, as does the newly available Sithole, and the front three Maseko, he introduced Magopa and Polis. As for South Korea, Kim Sung-gyu is the goalkeeper. A back three of Lee Gi-hyuk, Kim Min-jae of Bayern Munich and Lee Han-pom, who plays his football in Denmark. The ball across midfield, Lee Tae-sok, Paik Sung-ho of Birmingham, Hwang In-bom of Feyenoord and Sol Young-woo, who plays for Red Star in Serbia. And the front three, Hwang Hee-chan of Wolves brought in to the attack, along with Oh Hung-gyu of Besiktas in Turkey, and winning his 50th cap tonight, Lee Kang-ging of Paris Saint-Germain. Everybody is ready, and that's including Alvin Martin next to me. Alvin, we are... Well, I think we've been talking about the excitement for this new format, the way that the game has been coming around with this 48-team expanded edition. It gives us games like this.
Yeah, look at it. It's all about getting through to the knockout stages. That's when it really takes shape. Look, there's been so many facets of this World Cup that have been really entertaining. I think the refereeing standards have been excellent. I really do. I think that that's something that we can certainly, as the Premier League is concerned, think, well, okay, that's the level that our referees, our officials have got to get up to. And look, from here on in, it's about tonight, given everything you've got, one game, all or nothing. I mean, that's what you mentioned in the build-up, and that's what it is, especially with South Africa.
Might not be a second chance now. You're listening to World Cup Game Day live on TalkSport, brought to you by Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app. Well, for South Africa, they have been uninspiring at times in this tournament. Tricky to get going in an opening game in a cavernous Azteca against Mexico, and they were swiftly undone in that game. They were better though against the Czech Republic on Friday morning. That's Teboho Mokoena penalty, giving them a lifeline in a 1-1 draw. For South Korea, a goalkeeping mistake in the 1-0 defeat against Mexico on Friday morning. So they could have got themselves over the line in that game. They know now they have still some work to do, but it's only a point. And if you're going into the final game needing just a draw, well, it might bring the nerves, but I think they take it given their lead up to the tournament, which wasn't particularly confident.
I think the thing as well, Cameron, is South Korea, they are a team that have performed quite high in terms of the standards. Didn't get results, perhaps that maybe some of the play deserves. They're up against South Africa, who can be naive, but they're a team that consists of maybe 2 banks of 4 that play their club football all together. So that team ethic, that understanding throughout the team might be an advantage for them as well.
You can't underestimate the power of connection, and the two bosses have had their final moments in audience with their sides in the dressing room. Hong Myung-bo and Hugo Broos must now watch on. Hong Myung-bo knows what this is all about. He's played at World Cups for South Korea before. What a player he was. 130 caps for Korea in the 90s and the 2000s. Part of the side that reached the 2002 semi-finals on home soil, but now it's a battle to reach the round of 32. Hugo Broos as well, retiring the Belgian in charge of South Africa after this game if they don't go through, and it's a win that they will need, having only 1 point so far. The teams are ready. South Korea are in red shirts, black shorts and red socks, and the South Africans all in yellow from the collar down to the ankle. The crowd are chanting down, "This is TalkSport 2, and it is Judgment Day for these sides. South Africa have to win. They're yet to inspire, but it was a penalty lifeline that boosted their odds late on against the Czech Republic in last week's play. South Korea are best placed to go through with Mexico. They just have to avoid defeat and second will be theirs. Lose though, and they risk not even reaching third place.
Well, the game started with South Korea with the ball, and I'd expect them to have a lot of ball retention here. Possession, they will dominate. It's really what stage of the game that they start to look at moving forward and taking risks, Cameron, because this game really, especially for South Africa, is all about risk taking at the right time.
We've got the Koreans who kick from left to right, as myself and Alvin look at it. Favourable position in the group, but that Scotland fans will have an eye on this one as well, with all the permutations needed for securing third place, as South Africa's Kaliso Madau is forced into a defensive intervention on the right side of his defence. Played every minute of this World Cup so far. I have to send that one the right side of the corner flag. The South Korean fans make noise in the corner to get behind their team. They're taking the throw in quickly. Cross from the South Korean left. Referee is given a corner for the cross that was sent in. Took a touch off a defender. It was Lee Tae-sok, one of the men coming into the side of Austria Vienna, who forced it. And so a corner to South Korea, far side their left. First from the game. They're good at these set pieces. And preparing to swing this ball in from the left-hand side now is Lee Kang-in. Yellow-shirted South African defenders trying to pick up their men. It's deep towards the penalty spot. Oh, header at goal. And it hit a defender and it pinged away from the danger. Kim Min-jae it was, the Bayern Munich man who had the header at goal. South Africa had enough bodies in the way, and the Koreans coming forward again. 0-0 on TalkSport 2. 2 minutes gone. Mexico versus Czechia over on TalkSport. To South Africa get the ball clear this time through Madau. That's the sort of football that is going to send South Africa panicking. And their goalkeeper, clad in blue, Ronwen Williams, has come out this time from the second ball to pick up, and he can start to reset the tempo.
Well, there's no doubt about it. South Korea, when they get the chance, they will play as high up the pitch as possible. They're the ones with the artillery. They're the ones with the technically more gifted players. And the only way you get the benefit of that is if you dominate possession, number one, but dominate it in the right areas.
And the ball back to the goalkeeper again from South Africa. They can't get the ball in the right areas at the moment. Ronwen Williams has gone long. It's headed back into the South African half by Kim Min-jae. And then down on the far side for the South Africans went to Pelo Maseko. He's been fouled by Lee Tae-sok. And we saw a free kick for the South Africans and a first chance to get this ball forward. On our monitors we're getting a rerun of the chance earlier on for Kim Min-jae. Latched on well to the cross from the corner. And it hit the defender square though in the shin, Audrey Madiba of Mamelodi Sundowns. And cleared away to safety with warning bells sounding in South African ears. They have the ball in the midfield third. But back inside their own half to the left-sided centre-back Mbakazi. He's one of the three starters to play his football outside South Africa, plays for Chicago Fire. They've gone long from the goalkeeper. It was straight downfield as well, ahead of Relebehile Mofokeng, and he couldn't control it. And the first action there for the South Korean goalkeeper, Kim Sung-gyu, who had to get out quickly and hold the ball.
He's certainly got the pace to be able to exploit that back line of South Korea, Mofokeng, and he is somebody that will look at playing in the number 10 role and utilising that space, like I said, behind that back three. And if you can do that, it will actually, it'll push your back line back and give your team a little bit more space to play.
No goals so far. South Africa forced to deal with a long ball then from the Koreans. The goalkeeper saw it early though, Williams racing off his line, and his defenders playing it out in front of him with Mbakazi. There is a slight chase from Lee Kang-in, so they'll switch it, South Africa, from left to right. Over towards Madau in the right back spot. They're playing their fourth World Cup. They've never gone, South Africa, beyond the group stage. And qualifying for the first time since 2002. They did host in 2010. And they came ever so close in the final day. They beat France in the final game of that World Cup for them, but went out on goal difference. It's not about goal difference this time. They brought in head-to-head FIFA. That means that the draw with Mexico has kept them alive, or with Czechia I should say, but they have to make good on that promise with a win. They have it on their right-hand side now. Possible crossing opportunity for the South Africans. Maseko couldn't get his feet sorted, and Lee Tae-sok clears from his own goal line, and he's got it out for a throw-in to South Africa, level with the edge of the Korean penalty area. 5 minutes gone on TalkSport 2. It's South Africa 0, South Korea 0.
Quite an intriguing game in store for us here, I think, Cameron. You know, it's now and again you could be surprised by South Africa because they can they every now and again show that little bit of class in the final third. I'm not saying they're consistently showing it, but they're a team that's hard to read.
Well, here comes the corner from South Africa, taken by Apollos, but the defenders were there first. Only half cleared and a shot from the edge of the penalty area. Well, it rebounds over the bar. It was Mofokeng who had the go. He was the man almost played in with that straight through ball over the top a moment ago. This time it was difficult again. Flashed it into the defence, and Kim Min-jae stuck his head on it knowing it might have been on target. And out for a corner it goes, this time from the near side. The South African left it 0-0.
Well, it certainly was on target and had to be dealt with. I think that was going top corner. So the keeper certainly would have had a problem with it if it hadn't been deflected.
And Kim Sung-gyu, the goalkeeper, ready for this aerial delivery. It was his defenders that dealt with it in front of him again. Headed away by Lee Han-pom of Midtjylland in Denmark. And his teammate Hwang Hee-chan has it in the left back position. He's had to come a long way back towards his own goal, the Wolves man. As Lee Gi-hyuk senses there's no pressure on him this time from those in yellow. And back to Kim Sung-gyu he goes. 0-0. South Korea looking to keep a 12th World Cup alive. Their 11th in succession. More appearances than any Asian nation. Not been past the round of 16 since 2002 in their co-host of World Cup. And they will be favourites as they start this round of games in second to go through and take up a spot in the round of 32. Well, they will play the co-host Canada if they are successful. Canada surrendering home advantage now, they're having come second. Long ball forward from the Koreans, crossed into the area, it's missed everyone in red. Picked up at the back stick though, this might still be alive! Shot at goal and wide, Lee Kang-in, he claims a corner. And suddenly there were red shirts all abounding in the middle. So Young-woo with a brilliant cross in the end. It looked like it had missed everybody, kept alive, but they couldn't find the target with the shots. And South Africa again caught a little short.
Well, quality approach play really, wasn't it, by South Korea there? Really, the ball's fizzing around, and when it ended up on his left foot, he really struck it well. Just had his direction slightly out, what is it, a foot left of that left-hand post. And certainly, Williams, the goalkeeper, just watched it. He wasn't going to get anywhere near it.
Well, the defender didn't get a touch either. Goal kick was the correct move. From the referee, who's Facundo Tejero, the experienced Argentine. As forward comes South Africa. Far side there, right with talent and batter, but a poor ball downfield. Tried to find Maseko, completely missed him. And out for a throw-in to South Korea with no goals in the opening 8 minutes of this game. No goals at the Azteca either between Czechia and Mexico. And so for the moment, this one suiting South Korea. They know they'll be second with a point. And South Korea can finish third ahead of Czech Republic with a point, but it's hard to imagine 2 points being enough for a best third place berth, and that would be a good result for Scotland, who are hoping that their finishing result of 3 points and a goal difference of -3 will be enough to go through as one of the 8 best of the 12 third place finishers. We heard them lose 3-0 against Brazil earlier on TalkSport. Wins for Switzerland over Canada 2-1 means they top Group B. Brazil going through with Morocco in second in Scotland's group, as South Korea's long ball is dealt with one of South Africa's own. Long ball into the penalty area that the goalkeeper was always favourite for. It was sent up towards Evidence Magopa, but the Kim Sung-gyu wearing green came out with his white gloves and sprawled and caught it without too many problems. No goals still, 9 gone.
Yeah, the keeper, there's no doubt about it, made a mistake, didn't he, Kim Sung-gyu? And it was a big mistake, but what was impressive about that was it didn't let him affect the rest of the game. He made 2 or 3 good saves after that, and he's obviously a strong character. But a really good tempo to this game, Cameron. You know, both sides are knocking it round. It's quick. It's not laborious, is it, where they're just taking time and time. There's a little cut thrust about it.
Alvin referring to the mistake from the South Korean goalkeeper that brought about the only goal of their game in the 1-0 defeat against Mexico in the early hours of Friday morning. Looked like we were headed for a 0-0 draw. Wasn't to be, as Lee Han-pom holds it the right of the defensive 3 for South Korea. It's now went out to the left-hand sided defender Lee Gi-hyuk of Gangwon. Not many of these South Korean players play their football in the domestic K-League, which is on a break in its mid-season. Here is Lee Han-pom. Red boots, uses one of them to stand on the ball. Forward to Hwang In-bon. One of of the stars that South Korea have been criticised at previous World Cups for relying upon. Song Heung-min not in the starting 11 for this one. That was the headline team news, really, Alvin.
Yeah, I think before the game I was reading a lot of stuff on them, and a lot of the fans were hoping that maybe, although he's an idol, he's not going to start. He's going to come on maybe in the second half.
He might make an impact, but they might make an impact early on here. South Korea, a through ball through the middle towards So Young-woo. He's normally the right-sided midfielder, but he found himself in a position there on the edge of the penalty area to control it, and it slips awkwardly, doesn't it, under his boot and away for a throw-in, albeit to the Koreans.
Yeah, it needed to be a really perfect touch to take it under control, under pressure, and he got it wrong, didn't he? But going back to Son, he is somebody that he's still idolised there, but by the South Korean fans, he's a legend, isn't he? But a lot of his work has been done in the early parts of games where the space hasn't been there. I think they're hoping that maybe if you need him in the second half, when the game opens up, he's somebody that could turn the game.
And it is currently South Korea trying to open up this game. They're camped on the edge of the attacking third. Have it far side their left with Lee Tae-sok. Back to Lee Gi-hyuk. And to the deepest lying red shirt, Kim Min-jae. Nearing 100 caps, the Bayern Munich man. Wealth of experience at international level as well as the top of the club game. As Lee Kang-in, another of those, tries a 1-2 to get into the attacking third once more, and he's got it back 30 yards out, then was upended by the challenge of Mbata, referee, who was around about 25 yards away from that and might have been crowded out, said it was okay. And the red shirts of South Korea start again, albeit at the expense of 20 yards. Crossing position left side of the area for Lee Tae-sok. He slammed it against Kaliso Madao, and it's been given as a goal kick, so I can only imagine it's come back off the South Korean, and indeed, no complaints from him. 12 gone, 0-0.
Just into a phase of the game now where they're starting to really dominate the possession of the ball, South Korea, and when they are breaking down an attack here, South Africa, they're gifting it back. They've only got the one striker up front, Makopa, and he's not really been able to get the ball under control and get them out of their half for the last 7 or 8 minutes, and it's certainly looking like a game that at this moment in time South Korea are controlling.
And South Africa, can they weather the storm? We were told of middling warnings of storms in the region earlier on in the night. Only one of the games so far has been affected, that France heavy win over Iraq with heavy rain in its interlude. Let's hope for no more of that as South Korea start on the left side of their defence with Madiba forward from the Mamelodi man, looking for evidence. Makopa, his lead striker, couldn't find him. South Africa's best two clubs, well represented. That only man to play in the Premier League, Lyle Foster, is on the bench this evening, having been dropped ahead of their draw with Czechia after that heavy opening defeat against the co-host. Here is Madao, one of many sporting pink boots tonight, white ankle tape, turns and rolls the ball out to his right-hand side where Maseko is awaiting. It's going to go back to Madao. There's nothing going forward for the yellow-clad South Africans at the moment. Into the centre circle with Sithole, one of those two to be sent off in that game against Mexico. They're still without Themba Zwane. He's got a 3-game ban. His World Cup might have been over after that opener. South Africa know that a win will prolong theirs. They have it left side of the area. Madiba crossing it in. Oh, and a header from Makopa flashed wide, and he really should have done better. He was the only yellow shirt available there, but he met it around the penalty spot, couldn't get the purchase, and he skims it away wide past the far post for a goal kick to South Korea. Goalless game.
Well, he made an excellent run. The run was really fantastic. The ball in was fantastic. All it was lacking was that delivery in terms of getting the contact on his head, and he just skimmed off his forehead, didn't it? But certainly good movement, and a little warning there for South Korea.
And South Korea know a draw is good enough to go through as a second-placed team. The first real moment of danger for them at the back there, though. It's still 0-0 between Czech Republic and Mexico. The result in that game doesn't affect, though, what happens in this one. Winner will go through. And for South Africa, it's only likely to be 3 points that will be enough, given their poor starts to this World Cup. Here is Mudau for them, halfway inside the South Korean half, where he's fouled. Wide on their right by Lee Tae-sok. And the Argentine official coming over to mediate. The ball set down for a free kick to the South Africans. About 40 yards from the corner flag, and the referee is going to make sure it doesn't creep to 39. As Mudau tried to steal a few yards there, an old tactic. It is going to be Oswin Apollis, who plays for the champions Orlando Pirates, trying to threaten the goal of Kim Sung-gyu. Yellow shirts lining up among the red on the edge of the penalty area. Bent in. Oh, might have been a shooting chance there. Picked up on the edge of the 6-yard box, but Mofokeng couldn't get a shot away. He tried the second time. Seemed to get it stuck in his feet, really. And out it goes for a goal kick to South Korea at Norway.
Yeah, he was a bit unfortunate there. It didn't drop for him, Mofokeng, and he's certainly been the one that's caught the eye in the early stages for South Africa.
And they've won the ball back as well, given away by South Korea. Here is Matt Gopa, 18-yard box, using Apollis. Defenders quickly getting back into their shape. Now it's at the feet of Maseko. Right-hand side of the penalty area. South Africa attacking. Crossing towards the 6-yard box is dealt with by Lee Gi-hyuk. And South Korea will win the second ball. One they had to win on the edge of their penalty area. The pass from Hwang In-beom goes to nobody though. 16 minutes gone. 0-0 in this must-win game for South Africa. The scoreline that suits South Korea at the moment. They went out in the round of 16 4 years ago in that defeat against Brazil in Qatar. They're no longer content though with just getting out the group. A football-mad nation. They had 15,000 fans reportedly gathering at Jongmu-gu Square in central Seoul to watch their game against Czechia. An opening win in which they came from behind. No goals in the other game in the group either. That's over on TalkSport. Czech Republic already through Mexico. And so crucial it is to make sure that these opening exchanges go your way. It's South Korea who shaded it. 17 minutes in though, Alvin. We've just started to see the ante change a little, with South Africa having their first touch.
Yeah, I think it's been a good response, Cameron. I think that it looked like South Korea were going to dominate, and they've come back into it really. They've got the ball in good areas and pose a certain amount of threat to the South Korean goals. So yeah, I think both managers will be happy with the way the game started, but so much more pressure on South Korea. Now they've got a lot of their players playing in the top leagues around Europe. With that comes expectation and pressure.
It is pressure, it is expectation, it's all of those things, it's jeopardy as well. One mistake could be the end of your World Cup. Here comes Lee Han-beom of South Korea. Just inside his own half, he's going to go further inside it with his passes though. And this is Lee Gi-hyuk on halfway. Out to the left-hand side, the Lee Tae-sok. Halfway inside the South African half now. Through ball down the line, Lee Tae-sok getting a cross in, looking for So Young-woo at the back post. Header away by South Africa's Madiba, but only half clear. It was picked up by Lee Kang-in, who looked to have a run there one-on-one towards the corner flag, but ran square into the defender, Apollis. And the effect is South Korea are forced further away. Crossing from Lee Kang-in is headed away in the 18-yard box. And the yellow shirt to Bafana Bafana worked the ball towards halfway where Apollis was waiting, and a good ball through the middle, and they might be in on goal here. It's Maseko up to the edge of the area, got a shot in, but hit the defender Lee Gi-hyuk. Out for a corner it goes, and South Korea were at a numerical disadvantage there at the back. The centre-back has done his job well though. It hits the gang one man, and out for a corner it goes.
Lee Gi-hyuk, he's got them out of trouble. That was 3 versus 2. That's incredibly poor from South Korea. A team is with this sort of talent, with this sort of coaching, you expect a lot more. But on the counter, to be 3 versus 2 against South Africa is crazy. They've got away with it because an impeccable bit of defending there.
And that's what South Africa can do. Normally organised, high tempo. We saw a bit more of that in their second game. Now they have a corner far side there, right at 0-0. Looking for the header, and Makopa went for it but missed it. And headed away by Hwang Hee-chan. Picked up left side by South Africa again. Is the cross going to come in? It's lined up by Apollis, who goes for the shot instead. Missed the defender, but it was straight down the middle, and a comfortable hold for Kim Sung-gyu. One bounce, took it against his chest. Goalless, and we're starting to see South Africa come alive in this game they need to win.
The keeper made that look easy. It was a difficult one, bounced just in front of him. But I'll tell you what, they do know, South Korea, they're in the game here. I think I've been pleasantly surprised with the technical ability that they've shown. Just that wrong option was chosen in that 3 versus 2 situation that favoured South Africa. They're the little things there, Cameron. You've got to make more of them situations.
Well, they began this tournament, South Africa ranked 60th in the world, 35 places below South Korea. It isn't imprecise science. Came through their group though, 1 point ahead of Nigeria. That having had points docked for fielding an ineligible player. It wasn't plain sailing to these finals, but they were an unexpected qualifier. The South Africans Are they going to prolong their stay past the groups? We know they're going to need to find a goal, something they haven't done from open play in this World Cup so far, and haven't really looked like doom. But as Alvin says, starting to stretch the game a little bit. We've got defending to do now, though, with Ime Okon, right-sided centre-back, finding his right back, Madao. Yellow shirts still in their defensive third. Slip ball through the midfield, has found Madao again now up to halfway. Ball first time played by Sithole, but couldn't find an attacker. Red shirts of South Korea will swallow up the ball. Near side, they're right, they'll go with So Youngwoo. Back to goal it will be, with no goals in either game so far in Group A, having seen progression earlier on for Canada, for Switzerland we know, as well as Brazil and Morocco. Scotland face a nervous wait, as do Bosnia, to see if their third place standing is going to be enough. South Africa and South Korea don't want to have to worry about that. No goals so far. A result that's favourable to South Korea, but they're coming under increased pressure. They've got a break of their own now down the left-hand side. Lee Tae-sok was crossing it heavy on the left foot, but got it all wrong really. He was underneath the sphere of the ball and sent it ballooning out for a goal kick, as his manager looks on frustratedly. And with 21 minutes and a half gone in this game on TalkSport 2. It's Czech Republic versus Mexico over on TalkSport. We've got a bumper package coming up for you. It's starting tonight at 9 p.m. by the way, with Germany versus Ecuador in Group A on TalkSport. Curaçao versus Ivory Coast on TalkSport 2. Curaçao would be expected in the round of 32 as an offside flag is raised against Tapelo Maseko of South Africa. Far side there, right, went a little bit too early from the aerial ball. 22 gone, still waiting for the first goal.
Yeah, the game is certainly intriguing. I said that a few moments ago. It's you know, it could go either way. I think the first goal, you'd have a little bet on either team. Possibly, I think in the last 10 minutes, South Africa looked the more likely.
The mood has changed, and as you say that, Alvin, it's the worst possible time because they're coming into the game, and the referee's got the first hydration.
So I think that's worked against South Africa because they've been in a nice little vein of form there, weren't they? But certainly, when I looked at South Korea, they started off really dominant, but like gradually the game shifted towards South Africa. You can tell that the game's not going their way when Lee Kang-in is somebody who's playing for PSG now. Is coming deeper and deeper, got a lovely left foot. He wants to orchestrate everything that's good about going forward, but he's coming deeper and deeper, and that's always a sign that a player's getting frustrated.
Well, the subs are on now with their bibs and hydration packs and ice packs and towels being handed out now as the two teams break for 3 minutes for the first time in this game. Tactical instruction being offered. The South African goalkeeper Ronwen Williams is quite animated actually, with his manager nearby, Hugo Broos, in a grey t-shirt. Not the colour I would have picked on a night such as this one. The temperatures are a little bit lower, given we are now approaching 7:30 local time in Guadalupe. It is one of the grounds where hydration break has made more sense, as a sing-along is indulged in between the two sets of porters. Canta No Llores, the song being belted out, I think, mainly by the Mexicans and the locals, as well as a good following of South Korea supporters. There is a big expat community of Koreans in Mexico, and they've turned out well for all of their group games so far. Both of these teams playing all their games in Mexico up until this point. And the runner-up will move to LA to play on Sunday against Canada, the runners-up from Group B. We already know Mexico have won the group and will stay in Mexico City. Good for them, and good for the tournament, I think, as well, Alvin.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Hugo Broos down there. You know, he's vastly experienced, getting on a bit now. I don't know exactly how old he is.
74 years old,
really.
Hugo Broos.
He looks great for 74, but you can see the players are listening to every word he's saying there. Obviously got a lot of respect within that camp, and he'll be delighted the way his team have played in the first 24 minutes, because I think they've come into a game, they know that it's a game they've got to win, but they've got the balance right, really, Camden, between offering an offensive adventurous sort of tactic, but also not giving too many looks at their own goal. And it's a really tightrope to walk in football, but they've got that absolutely right, and that's credit to the coach.
South Africa getting Alvin's vote at the moment. Hugo Broos, the Belgian coach, retiring after these finals. The longest serving coach of Bafana Bafana, and a player as well at the World Cup in which Alvin played in, Mexico '86. with Belgium as they finish 4th. AFCON winner 2 as Cameroon boss. This South Africa team finished 3rd in 2023, hoping to prolong their stay in North America at this World Cup. The hydration break is over, thank goodness. 0-0. South Africa were in the ascendancy at the time after a bit of a slow start. There was a lot of pressure coming their way from the South Koreans in the opening few minutes. South Korea knowing a point will be enough. South Africa know they have to win, and they're actually restarting with 10 players because Yaya Sithole, the midfielder, is getting what looks like some treatment. He was getting some water poured on his face. I don't know whether it's a cut that he's got to deal with. Either way, Bafana Bafana are disadvantaged for the moment. Can South Korea take advantage of that? Near side there, right they are. Lee Kang-in it is. Steps inside with his red and white boots. Has to go back when his ball is deflected. And Lee Han-pom picking it up in defence. Dropping deep is Paik Sung-ho of Birmingham. Near side the South Korean right it will go. So Young-woo down the line. Cross came in but was blocked behind for a corner off Mopakeng. And the South Koreans seem to have found their rhythm again that they'd lost a little bit coming up to that 20-minute mark. They have a corner, 0-0 in this game.
Yeah, the hydration break certainly come for South Korea a good time in that game because they just lost their way a little, and it's a side certainly that have had the best moment, South Africa. You know, that 3 versus 2. I'd be very surprised if they get a better opening than that. They've got to make more of it. I wonder if they'll brew that.
Here comes the corner there near side the South Korean right. Did hit an attacker, but it sprung up awkwardly, and the second ball was there for Matt Gopa to take down, and he will move it away for now. Here come the red-shirted South Koreans again. Ball swung in from the right-hand side from Lee Kang-in, but too high. And he did have men in there as well, with Lee Han-pom looking frustratedly back at where the ball has gone. Set out for a goal kick. South Africa done a good job of holding off South Korea so far. Had moments of their own before the hydration break. 27 gone. You're listening to TalkSport 2, and there are no goals between these two as the ball goes back to the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Sung-gil.
Just signs now that Lee Kang-in is just getting a little bit more of the ball here, Cameron. You know, in better areas. I'm saying inside. You know, the South Africa half, and whenever he gets the ball on that left foot, you always feel there's something could happen. He's put one ball in just slightly overhit, but he has got the ability to open the game up with that left foot of his.
Winning his 50th cap tonight, Lee Kang-in. He was on the bench for PSG's Champions League final win against Arsenal a few weeks ago, but he's played every minute of this World Cup so far for South Korea. 28 gone in this one. Hong Young-bo in his dark blue polo shirt on the touchline. Strokes a hand through his hair. It was an underwhelming reappointment after coming back into the job after resigning following a winless campaign in Brazil in 2014. He has brought them to within touching distance of the round of 32 as So Young-woo expects a throw-in on halfway, but it has been overturned in his favour. Audrey Madiba thought he got the call first and was gearing up for a throw-in to South Africa. But So Young-woo, having been given the ball back, is now told to hurry up by the Argentine match official. Referee's team all in black this evening. I don't envy them, as it's picked up by Mbakazi in defence for South Africa. Forward to Sithole. Back on now. This issue dealt with 11 versus 11. 0 versus 0. As Ronwen Williams, long-standing number 1 for South Africa, clears on his left boot towards halfway. Couldn't find a teammate though. South Korea recycling the ball. Here's Hwang Hee-chan, 30 yards out, goes down in the challenge. Referee had a good view of that one and said there was nothing wrong with it. And South Africa clear their lines towards halfway. They might be tempted into a counter-attack here with Sithole. Goes indeed diagonal long and cross-field up towards Apollos. His touch takes him behind the defender though, and has to go back towards halfway under pressure from So Young-woo. And South Korea win it back at 0-0.
Another example of a referee letting the game go, and you know, there's countless occasions where I think, well, normally this game would have been stopped in the Premier League. The referees just wave play on. The players get to know that he isn't going to stop the game for any little frivolous foul. It's really benefited the performance of the game.
More of that, please. Here comes South Africa with Maseko on the right-hand side. Now into the area, trying to cut it onto his left. A shot from deep, parried by the goalkeeper and put straight at him. The flag will probably go up in retrospect, but it was a reaction save from Kim Sung-gil. It should have been put away though. 2 chances there for Bafana Bafana. They were coming forward from deep. A great one it was by Maseko when he opened it up on the edge of the box. The shot from distance. Oh, and there was no flag either, and it's Evidence Magopa. The first effort was parried right to him. He's only 6 yards out. Either side of the goalkeeper, there's no time to react, but he bounces it into the goalkeeper's hands. South Africa know they need a goal in this game. They should have had one there. 0-0.
Well, there's no doubt about it. They've had the two best moments in the game so far, and that one is by far the best. Magopa really has got to stick that away. He doesn't know he's offside, and there might have been a call from VAR. It would have been certainly looked at, but it's a wonderful opportunity, and they are carrying the threat, South Africa.
I tell you, in real time, he looks way offside. We've seen a replay. It looks very close. It's certainly one that would have been looked at again, and it's certainly one he should have put into the back of the net. Can South Korea make them pay for their profligacy as Hwang Hee-chan sees his cross blocked by a defender, and Ime Okon clears up towards halfway, where it will be a South African throw, having taken a touch of Paik Sung-ho. Goalless, not quite sure how after that chance for Bafana Bafana. We're getting a rerun of it on our screens in front of us. The shot from distance was from Talent and Batter. That one was straight at the goalkeeper through a crowd, but Kim Sung-gyu could only parry it, and he must have wondered what he was doing with Magopa right in front of him. Oh, his manager couldn't believe it. He was doubled up in frustration, and the South African fans, outnumbered as they are, surely sharing his sentiment. 0-0, 31 minutes gone. So as it stands, South Korea doing enough to go through in this group, courtesy of their opening win against Czechia, who are 0-0 against the confirmed group winners, Mexico, as it stands.
I think the chance that went begging there, and a couple of opportunities, well, that's done. I think it's just it's taken the sting and a little bit of impetus away from South Korea, so they're thinking, whoa, we've got to be careful here. If we give this ball away, this team is a lot more adventurous than we expected them to be.
There's no guarantee that if they lose this game, South Korea, that they will go through. They will be at the mercy of the best third place system, as are Scotland after their defeats earlier in the evening. There's an issue here for Evidence Magopa. He missed that chance a moment ago, that golden chance. He's down in the midfield. The referee stopped play for a moment. He went up for an aerial ball with Kim Min-jae, the defender, and it landed awkwardly on his side. He was rubbing the back of his head furiously, but he hasn't had treatment, and so we will be able to continue at 0-0, 11 versus 11. South Africa versus South Korea in Group A. This final match day, games played simultaneously. All the jeopardy you could ask for as a neutral. As forward come the South Africans now from D. Sitole with his header, looking for a polish on the corner of the area. Now he has it through ball. Wants the 1-2, won't get there because So Young-woo had tracked him. Won it back in the 18-yard box. South Korea don't panic there under pressure. They've got it to Hwang Hee-chan and into the centre circle, and now there might be a chance to break as well. Foul maybe on the centre circle, yes, given as So Young-woo was wrestled down to ground. And so maybe not a bad foul to concede there by the South Africans. They knew that So Young-woo might be away there, and it was made by Mbata. And South Korea again pressing a defensive test.
Well, it's certainly a game that's entertaining. It's going from end to end, and you can see they are taking chances. They are getting that balance right, South Africa, between attack and defence. But whenever the ball's turned over,
from distance, didn't it? But always speculative.
I think he was always watching at the goalkeeper. But the game has got a to and fro in it. I think it's South Korea. I'm a little surprised at this moment in time aren't dominating possession more. And certainly when they've got the ball, South Africa, they are a team that look like they've got a goal in them. They look like they've got a pass or a cross in them. And although he's not a natural finisher, Magopa, up front, he's certainly somebody that's caused himself being a nuisance in terms of flicking balls on, holding it up.
Well, after that miss, not a natural finisher is a very delicate way of putting a terrible miss. There was another miss there for Hwang Hee-chan, who tried a speculative effort on the 10 from 30 yards out, but it was well wide, really. And that just goes to show what South Korea are having to resort to. They yet to have a shot on target in this game. There have been 3 against them so far. The onus and the expectation was always really on South Africa to come out and fire, looking for a goal that they're going to need. Haven't scored from open play yet in this World Cup. Just the penalty in the 1-1 draw with Mexico last time out. Or Czechia, I should say. Beg your pardon. As forward come the yellow-shirted South Africans again. 35 yards out. It's Polis, turns, has to go back though to find a yellow shirt, and even then he didn't find one. It was won by Lee Kang-in, and he turns away from two and is fouled there. I think he was held by Tapelo Maseko, and the referee just over his shoulder sees there's no real advantage that time. A good performance from the Argentine Tejo so far, letting the game develop, but no option there. Free kick for South Korea in a game in which the momentum is to and fro.
Yeah, I look, the work rate of South Africa is exemplary, isn't it? You know, they really are after the ball, they're all together. You'd expect that, the stakes are so high, but they're certainly up for it, and they've been prepared well for this game.
So forward come the South Koreans from halfway, up towards Sol Youngwoo, taking on his instep right foot, plays it back towards Lee Han-pom. Now all the way into their own half as it happens. It will be Kim Min-jae, who's got no pressure on him. And South Africa having come back into this game twice really now in terms of momentum. Seems to be taking a breather and sitting off for now. They lost that momentum after the first hydration break. Worked well to win it back and have had the best chance of the game. They'll go for hitting the goalkeeper from just 5 yards out. And they have it, Bafana Bafana. Right edge of their defence. Picked up now by Mbata, centre midfield. Back over his shoulder to Ime Ocon, who plays in the German second tier for Hanover. Standing on it, whole game ahead of him. Finally gets the chase from Oh Hong-gyu. He has to move it quickly to his right back, who then sees the only South African available. That is his goalkeeper, and the pace has just dropped out the game a little bit at 0-0.
Yeah, well, I think they're keeping the ball at the moment, South Africa. You can see they're a well-coached side. The thing is, they are susceptible every now and again to a human error, an individual error, which we've seen there. And obviously at this level, it can be really costly, that.
Well, that's exactly what we saw in the opening game of this World Cup, a repeat of their memorable opener in 2010. Sipiwe Shabalala's goal at Soccer City in Johannesburg. This time they were well beaten though by Mexico. Those 2 red cards hurting them really. That discipline that has got them through African qualifying, it completely dissipated in the first half, but that discipline is clear to see in this one so far. No goals after 37 minutes. Remains goalless in the game between Czech Republic and Mexico as well. South Africa knowing they need a win. South Korea are good for second place with a draw. Thanks for their win early on against the Czechs, having come from behind. Don't want to have to do that this evening. They've got it left edge of the penalty area. Maybe a crossing position here for Lee Tae-sok. It was deflected, was it? They're calling for a corner. Well, it's been given as a goal kick, and the South Koreans aren't happy. You can see from the perspiration that is pouring off some of them, Lee Kang-in in particular, the way they're having to work in this game. Muggy and humid in the shadow of the Mexican mountains. 7 minutes to go to half-time, 0-0.
Well, I've already mentioned the fact that they've got a goal threat about them, South Africa, but you know what, they've looked really solid as a back four. Well, 2 banks of 4 really, isn't it?
Well, Mofokeng's played the ball through the middle, and he's found his man as well. Here goes Makopa, shooting from distance but over the bar. Well, it was Maseko actually, I beg your pardon, he picked it up 30 yards out. He must have come forward from the right flank. He cut in, he was the only man up there in yellow, but they found him. It was a brilliant touch too to take it away from the centre back, and he shot from distance, having beaten Lee Gi-hyuk into that position, but it was always rising really. Never really looked like threatening the goalkeeper. Still goes.
Again, evidence of the attacking threat that they're carrying South Africa. You know what, the touch was fantastic. He had to take that on the run, and it was perfect. He's on his left foot, he's all left foot. You can see the way he's measuring it up. What he's got to do is keep that ball down, hit the target, bring a save out of the goalkeeper.
And that's what he didn't do. And that's why we're still at 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Every game, all 104 of this World Cup brought to you over the TalkSport network. And back on later in the evening with the games between Germany and Ecuador, and between Curacao and Ivory Coast. 9 p.m. UK time. Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia against Netherlands coming up at midnight as well. What a group that one will be. And they will go on to play the top 2, Brazil and Morocco from Scotland's group. Difficult one as Hwang Hee-chan collects it far side. The South Korean left. 40 minutes gone. Up towards Hwang Hee-chan, edge of the penalty area, but blocked up by 2 yellow-shirted defenders. And Madao, trying to take it away from danger, was fouled there by Hwang Hee-chan. Free kick South Africa as it remains goals.
The impressive thing for me defensively from South Africa is, you know, they're in these golden shirts and they're sticking together. There's never one golden shirt that's isolated. that a South Korean player can get at. They're playing as a team, totally as a team, and that's when they've got the ball and when they haven't got the ball.
And it does feel rare now, Alvin, that we see these teams who've got a mix of domestic players. So many you see will have 5 or 6 playing in the Premier League, more scattered around the top European leagues. But when you've got 8 players who play for the best 2 teams in your country, they're going to know each other like the back of your hands. And we're seeing evidence of that at the moment.
Yeah, it's cohesion, isn't it? You've got a natural cohesion in your team.
You've got a free kick as well, that team, South Africa. 45 yards out, far side there right. A show of innocence being made by the South Korean man Lee Tae-sok, far side there left, because it was a bit of a meaty challenge that went in on Tapelo Maseko, and so a free kick here and an opportunity for Bafana Bafana to put a ball into the penalty area and trouble Kim Sung-yu in goal, as they have done a couple of times so far. There was no yellow card there, still yet to see one in this game. Yellow cards do reset if there's only one for a player after the group stage. If you pick up 2 in the groups, you will miss the round of 32 if your team gets there. And South Africa need a goal and a win for that to happen. And the free kick, we're waiting for it now. They wanted to take it quickly there. The referee has moved them back, so Apollos will stand over it anew. 30 yards out on the right, whips it cross field towards the opposite edge of the penalty area. Shot from distance is well wide from Mofokeng. You could tell as soon as he hit it there, opened it up onto his right hand side and didn't get any curl on it really. And South Korea will be happy to see that one go behind, as it remains goalless in Guadalupe.
Well, Mofokeng, the number 10 for South Africa, he finds himself in some lovely positions. You know, very intelligent with where he goes and when he goes. And that one obviously got well wrong, didn't he? Trying to bend it into that top right hand corner and missed the target by quite a way. Just seen his son warm up on the sidelines there, Cameron, and he's certainly somebody that you would expect, if this carries on half time, he will definitely be in the manager's mind, because they're lacking a bit of class around that final third, South Korea, and he's somebody that would bring that class and subtlety to their play.
Well, it is South Korea's first game since the 2010 World Cup that they started without Heung-min Son. The defending now, shot from Maseko on the edge of the penalty area with a claim for handball, as it I think hit the midriff of the South Korean defender. South Korea have taken it away towards halfway. 0-0 in Guadalupe, a result that favours the South Koreans, but they've been dispossessed on halfway by Apollos. Back to Sitole he goes, centre circle, and over his right shoulder is arriving Mbata, and now Madao as well. They're standing on it for the moment. Every red-shirted South Korean behind the ball. It's Sitole, centre circle again, moving it forward to Mofokeng. Couple of efforts from him tonight. Back to Sitole too, keeping the ball between themselves at the moment. Bafana Bafana now back into the defence with no press at the moment from South Korea. Right hand side it goes for Madao, turns in onto his left foot and into the centre circle for Sitole. Again, it's a lateral pass. Everybody behind the ball still for South Korea. 90 seconds out from the half. Still no goals so far between these two, or indeed on Talk Sport between Czech Republic and already qualified Mexico. As they start again with a long ball from the centre circle, South Africa, and it had to be perfect, and it was perfect. Taken down on the byline, crossed in as well. Oh, and Audrey Modiba, well, he must have been offside because a belated flag has come, and a brilliant touch it was to take it first time, but he's slightly too early with his run. Although seeing the replay, Alvin, I'm not so sure that he was.
Yeah, it was type 1 again, wasn't it? But again, the ball out, the control, the run, the timing of the run. It's been a really accomplished first half performance by South Africa, and certainly coming up to half time, Hong Young-bo will want to get his team into that dressing room, sit them down and have a good talk to them, because you know they're lucky that it's only 0-0 at the moment. It's only a fact that it may be one bad finish and the wrong selection and pass at the vital time for South Africa that we haven't seen them score a goal. But certainly they're a goal, for me, a goal better than South Korea in this first half.
Yet to materialise though, that goal, as at the moment South Africa's goal difference is putting them in fourth. They had to work hard in the draw with Czech Republic, so head-to-head won't come into it between those two. Bottom of the group now, and it doesn't really matter because 2 points is almost sure not to be enough. to go through to the round of 32 as one of the best third-place teams. So only a win is likely to suffice for them as we move into 4 added minutes. Goalless it remains, and Hwang In-beom on the ball for South Korea. Back over his shoulder, Kim Min-jae centre circle. Down near side, the South Korean right for Lee Han-pom. Hong Yun-bo out to the extremities of his technical area, issuing his side warnings to go forward now. So Young-woo couldn't control the through ball though down the line. He was well marshalled by Makazi, and a goal kick to the South Africans with 30 seconds of the 4 added minutes elapsed.
Lee Kang-in has been really poor, by his standards in this first half. There's another example of it there, Cameron. He's played a ball down the right-hand side behind the full-back and he's overhit it. With that left foot you've got his, you expect him to be able to play that one easily. But he's hit a couple of good balls, but not had the influence on the game that I expected.
So, 46 played in this first half, and still we are without a goal. Mexico, top of the group on 7 points. South Korea currently on 4, but with that slender advantage it would all change with a goal. South Africa have it at the back with Mbakazi. Turns and fires back to Ronwen Williams. The South African glovesman waves the right arm above his shoulder. Going to kick this one long from the ground, the right boot. Over halfway towards Madao, who takes it into his control with a good touch on his right. And forward to Magopa, who comes back from an offside position, not really having his night. Evidence Magopa having spawned a brilliant chance one-on-one earlier on after a parry from the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Sung-gyu. That time he's come back from an offside position. And South Korea have a free kick on the edge of the defensive third. No goals.
Well, South Africa have certainly worked the ball from their penalty area into the front, a lot better than we expected. And at times South Korea have tried to press them, but they've beaten that press. They've got out and they've got people committed to going forward. They've done that really well in this first half.
Header away by Mbakazi from the long free kick from South Korea. Back into the South Korean defence where Lee Gi-hyuk was waiting for it. Headers over halfway. Picked up by Mudao. He turns and moves his left foot into the centre circle where waiting for him is Sitole. Bafana happy to play the ball among themselves for the moment, and South Korea largely are happy for that to happen. As we head towards half-time, just 90 seconds of added time remaining. Here is Modiba, left side of the centre circle of South Africa, look at it. Back to Mbakazi at centre-back. Now down the right-hand side with Madao. Can't seem to play a way through at the moment. We're emerging towards a stalemate. Though as I say that, South Korea have won the ball back from an errant pass with Lee Gi-hyuk on the ball. Centre circle for Hwang In-beom. Out to the left-hand side now for Hwang Hee-chan. Through ball into the channel. Looking for Lee Kang-in, but a good tackle from Madao wins it back. And South Africa able to clear.
He's done well down the right back for South Africa. He's had a lot of one-on-ones that he's dealt with, and he's got forward as well. Really good performance.
A quick 1-2 emerging in the centre circle here for South Korea, and they've tried to slip it through towards Magopa. Mofokeng it was brought in to play in that supporting role, and he nearly found him there. Forward comes Maseko, corner of the box for South Africa. Up towards the South Korean goal line. He got a touch though as he went around the defender, and was happy to let that run for a corner, and probably the final act of the first half. 0-0, 20 seconds of added time remaining. The referee has blown his whistle here. I think he's seen some pushing and shoving in the penalty area. It must have happened straight away because the ball isn't even in the corner arc yet. As some supporters start to head for the refreshment kiosks. Nobody of a South Africa persuasion is leaving yet. In it comes from Maseko, bent in, but a defensive header from Lee Han-pom. It drops 35 yards out, but an awkward and glancing hit from Audrey Modiba goes out for what would have been a goal kick, but is the end of a first half where there are boos, I think, coming from the South Korean supporters. South Africa in their yellow shirts, kicking from left to right as we look at it in the second half. They're ready to get us underway. They need to find a goal. Only one scored at this World Cup so far, and it was from the penalty spot. They should have scored in that first half, with evidence Magopa missing from point-blank range when a parry was fielded right into his path. But South Korea, though they've been on the ropes at times, have absorbed all the punches so far. Cameron Pope and Alvin Martin, the former England international, your TalkSport 2 commentary team, as we prepare ourselves for 45 minutes that will make or break the World Cup for one or both of these teams.
Well, can they pick up where they left off, South Africa? Because that was a really good first half performance by them. Son has started on this left-hand side, but I think he's just going to be given a free rein to go where he wants, when he wants, and it doesn't look like he's going to be pressing. But certainly, if they get the ball to him, the game could change.
Here comes Madao of South Africa, found his pass blocked as he tried to go up the line towards Maseko. It was Pek Seung-ho of Birmingham and Kim Tae-sok and Hwang Hee-chan of Wolves who went off in that triple swap, by the way, for South Korea. So they brought on Son, Kim Jin-yu and Jens Kastrup. That leaves then Kim Sung-yu in goal, the back three of Lee Han-pom, Kim Min-jae, Lee Gi-hyuk. Forward across the midfield, Kim Jin-yu, Kastrup, Hwang In-bom and So Young-woo. And then up front, Son, joined by Lee Kang-in and Oh Hong-gyu. No changes for South Africa, who need a goal. Ronwen Williams, the goalkeeper. Back four is Madao, Ocon, Mbakazi and Madiba. And Bata, Mofokeng and Sitole are the midfielders behind Maseko, Apolis and Mac Gopa, as they try and force a throw-in deep inside the South Korean half. As the Bafana coach Hugo Broos, that long and celebrated career, looks on in what could be his final 45 minutes in the job, taking a well-earned retirement at the end of this World Cup, whenever that will be. But it is likely to be straightforward for South Africa. They're probably not going to be left waiting around a la Scotland, because they know if they win the game they'll go through in second on the head-to-head, and if they draw, well, they'll only have 2 points. It's probably not worth hanging around to see if they'll get a best third place spot.
But I think, we talk about opportunity at this World Cup. I think, they've really taken the game to South Korea, haven't they? They've set the stall out and they've performed really well. And
they're defending here, though, because here comes South Korea, far side there, right. So Young-woo it was. Couldn't get around the defender, though. Apolis, who dropped back from attack to win the ball back, but he's lost it with 3 red shirts around him. South Korea in possession on the right touchline as they look at it with So Young-woo. And then back to halfway to Kim Min-jae. Forward from the Bayern Munich man, Hwang In-bom of Feyenoord now. Out to the right-hand side again for Red Star Belgrade, So Young-woo. Wants a 1-2, back on the corner of the area. It was held momentarily by Kim Jin-yu, but couldn't advance the ball. And South Africa have it back and give it away. Poor pass it was from Madiba. He's played it straight to Heung-min Son. Son's trying to find a way through to goal, and Son couldn't get one and went for the pass, which again was ill-advised, with Jens Kastrup well marshalled. And out for a throw, and it goes. Near side of South Africa right. At 0-0, 48 minutes gone.
Yeah, did he overhit this pass here, Son, or was it something that maybe the other player should have got hold of?
He was a bit flat-footed there, I thought, Jens Kastrup. He's not making a run onto the wing.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a little bit of both there, Cameron. One slightly overhit, and he should have done better moving his feet.
Well, they need their star performers to play well, but they also need to bring in the rest of the players that make up the team, South Korea. That has been the issue for many. Optimism was low in a football-mad country coming into this World Cup. They don't like the 3 at the back system. They've gone with it again, though, under Hong Min-young-bo. Hoping to find a result that will send them through. A draw will be good enough. They have a crossing opportunity with Oh Hong-gyu tight to the goal line. He's won a corner. Crossing it against the shins of Mbakazi. And so a corner kick to the red-clad Korean side, who look for a goal to swing this group away from South Africa. Might be all over for them, knowing that they need a win. Goals have been at a premium, but this corner, after some consultation between the refereeing team, has been overturned. It was given as a corner, and it's now been rightly, I should say, overturned and given as a goal kick. It came out of Oh Hong-gyu.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that they can correct that, because there's nothing more frustrating when it goes against you.
And the other thing is, Alvin, they do it quickly as well. Allows the game to keep flowing. Something we've seen and we've praised a lot in this World Cup as well. As South Africa have it on halfway, they'll go back into their own half with Yaya Sitole. Forward by Ocon to halfway, where Madao turns and sees red shirts arriving, so has to send it back into his own territory once again. 0-0, 50 gone. A result that, as it stands, sends South Korea through. Mexico confirmed as the group winners. They're 0-0 with Czech Republic on TalkSport. Ball through the middle for Bafana up towards the front line, where Maseko tried to get a shot away, but the defenders always followed him there. Good work to keep the ball off him. And Lee Gi-hyuk it was who got the foot in. Long shot from distance from South Africa. It swung well wide though. Talenton Bata who couldn't get it on target. He was always heading wayward, but a good header won in the middle of the park there by Matgopa to send that ball away. Korean defence standing strong.
Yeah, they did well, but look, at the end of the day, you lost 3 great situations and they haven't made the most of that again. He had a pass really to his left that maybe he should have taken, but it's that decision making in the final third, that little bit of quality, class that you need that they don't possess to these South Africa.
Well, they only have one Premier League player from this season. South Africa, Lyle Foster of Burnley on the bench. Dropped after that opening game. Disappointing game all round for Bafana Bafana. Yet to appear since. Might he appear with a goal to be found later in this game. Need a win, South Africa, and then second spot will be theirs. Pushing and hoping and praying that they will get their way and prolong their stay in this World Cup. But there is a caveat to that as well, because they have to hope that Czech Republic can't match the result from the Mexico game. Then it will go down to goal difference. I understand from that game it's pretty neutral, and Mexico look like a side who are comfortable in the fact that they're going through as group winners. But only a win will do for South Africa, and then needing favours, the goal has to come before we get to that yet. South Korea have it far side there, right side of the box with So Young-woo, but forced away from goal though to Kim Min-jae. There's Lee Gi-hyuk. Now 45 yards out, Hwang In-bom plays for Robin van Persie's Feyenoord. Right hand side, now comes the cross in, looking for the red shirts of South Korea. It's gone all the way through though. It was towards Jens Kastrup, he couldn't get there, and out for a goal kick it goes. Another harmless end to an attack from South Korea. No goals in this game, and the stadium clock has just clicked past 52 minutes.
Yeah, and 52 minutes of not producing any real quality around the final third, South Korea. Again, the ball in wasn't good enough, the run wasn't good enough. They're just struggling really. There's no cohesion. The quality that we were talking about before, we know they've got quality individuals, but they're just not showing it tonight.
Throw it for South Korea. Kastrup to take it. He wears Jens on the back of his shirt and thrown it deep into his defence. He has to find Kim Min-jae. And now Lee Han-pom, right side of the defence, over halfway to So Young-woo. He didn't fancy a one-on-one race there against Modiba, so goes back to his goalkeeper in fact. And wearing green, Kim Sung-gyu doesn't rush, rolls it out to his left hand side with Lee Gi-hyuk. There is a press now coming from South Africa. It's being led by Mofokeng. And they're getting right high up the field now, South Africa. In fact, Matgopa, who went to chase the goalkeeper when he got the ball, went down, colliding with the defender. Nothing in that. But 0-0. 53 and a half gone. South Korea man has slipped on the ball in the midfield, and here come South Africa again now. 45 yards out. Maybe a shooting opportunity for Maseko. He's got defenders in front of him. Almost played the right ball into the penalty area. Went for that little angled through ball into the channel. Couldn't find a way through to Apollos though, who was trying to get the ball back. Is overzealous and fouls his man.
I'm really surprised at the way South Africa have pressed South Korea, stopped them getting out. They've not been able to get the ball into Son. We were talking about that when he came on. You thought they would have been able to work the ball out, playing them free centre halves, getting both of their wing backs in advanced positions and servicing the ball into Son. It hasn't happened.
54 minutes gone, and still it's South Korea heading through. Here comes Jens Kastrup near side the South Korean left. Song Hyun-min picks it up in a more advanced position. Back over his shoulder to Hwang In-bom, and here comes Kastrup now 35 yards out. Central berth, moving it to the right hand side for Lee Han-pom. Pressure here sustained from South Korea as Mexico go 1-0 up in their game in Mexico City. Bad news for Czech Republic, who are heading out of the World Cup. As it stands, they're being joined by the South Africans, but that is a good goal for them, because there was that scenario where they could win and still not end up going through in second place and having to rely on third. But I think noise of the Mexico goal is filtering through to the Mexican fans, who are making up, well, just how large a proportion of the attendance I think we're about to realise, because there is a din filling Monterrey Stadium as South Korea come forward. Son Heung-min 35 yards out, trying to find a way through, sent all the way back to Ronwen Williams though, as South Africa recover the ball and cleared long over halfway. 55 gone, 0-0 in this one.
Well, they're starting to get better possession here, South Korea, but possession really in the deeper areas. Whenever they're looking at getting the ball in and around the edge of the box, it's too tight. The spacing of the South African players, the South African defence has been absolutely spot on all night. I said that now and again they can be naive the way they've defended, but no sign of that at the moment.
And here come South Korea in Jens Kastrup, corner of the box, tries to cross in on his right foot, hit the first defender though, and then it's walloped. Cleared by South Africa from the 18-yard box. Mateo Chavez, by the way, with that goal for Mexico. You can switch over to Talk Sport and hear the last 35 minutes of that one. The easiest way is on the Talk Sport app. You can flick between our stations at the click of a button. 56 gone in Estadio Monterrey in Guadalupe, and that Mexico goal is being cheered heartily as they head to picking up 9 points from 9. South Korea coming forward. Song Hyun-min 30 yards out in a central berth, plays it to the left for Jens Kastrup, who tried to get across goal with his ball but missed everybody in red. Poor ball in the end, and the South Africans can let that one go behind for a goal kick.
Kastrup's got to do better again. Son does really well. He holds it, and he plays the ball at the right time at the right pace. He just took a step inside the Kastrup really, when he should have stayed out wide, and then he could have got that shot away. But first real bit of space that he's had to work in, Son, and they nearly got something out of it.
Nothing in this game for either side in terms of goals. 57 gone, 0-0 between South Africa and South Korea. That goal for Mexico means they have 9 points. We already knew they were winning the group. Currently the Koreans are in second with 4 points, and then it's now South Africa up to third with 2. Almost surely not going to be enough for a third place berth, but it's good news for Scotland because they have a worse record, South Africa, than the Scots, having only 2 points. So you have to finish better than 4 of the third place teams. Scotland with 3 points and -3 goals. Unfavourable. We'll have to wait and see anxiously if it will be enough, as South Korea start from goalkeeper Kim Sung-gyu. Played into the centre circle for Kim Jin-yu. Now a slanted ball forward up towards Song Hyun-min in the penalty area. Took it down in the 18-yard box and was quickly supported by Oh Hong-gyu, but the defenders got in between. And Madao rolls the ball away down his left flank. Beginnings of a counter that South Africa have shown they can do so well at 0-0. Into the centre circle it comes now. Mofokeng with a bit of space to run into. Plays a through ball towards the 18-yard box where it's picked up by Matt Gopa. And turns towards the corner flag. Puts back in on himself. Claims a foul. Referee was happy though. And the assistant with the challenge from Kastrup. And South Korea win the ball back tamely that time, and then have a free kick themselves as well on the edge of their area. Foul, a shove by Matt Gopa.
Yeah, he's worked hard tonight with Gopa. He's a big striker up front. Sometimes you just having to sacrifice yourself at times, but silly foul he's given away there. And they still look, don't they? They've lacked that goal scorer. They've lacked that one who's going to stick it in the back of the net. And I suppose really they're short their top goal scorer, Aquino, who was the driving force in midfield, has scored 10 goals for them. And he's probably one that you would have had down with this sort of superiority they've had, maybe a goal scorer.
The noise levels are up again inside Estadio Monterrey. Just imagine what happens if either side does score a goal. Then we might know how loud this game could become in the final moments. 31 minutes remaining. South Africa 0, South Korea 0. Red shirts coming forward for South Korea. Forward by Kim Jin-yu. Couldn't find a ball to Son Hyun-min. It's been given away, and here come Bafana. They need a goal. They're getting a favourable result from Mexico City as it stands. As Hwang In-bom stands on halfway. Has to go backwards to go forwards, this time with Lee Han-pom. Out to the far side right for South Korea. Lee Han-pom again with his right boots. His red boots, I should say. Right and left. He's played it to the left-hand side where Kastrup is waiting. Now Lee Gi-hyuk in the centre circle with the game almost at walking pace again now.
Good spell. Good spell for South Korea, this.
As we come up to the hour, no goals still. Ball down the line for South Korea to the right-hand side, and the crossing was met by an attacking header, but it couldn't find goal. Oh Hong-gyu, I think it was. And his effort saved comfortably down low by the goalkeeper. Came onto it with a sideways run on the edge of the 6-yard box and did well to cover the ground. There was a slip from a South African defender in there, but the goalkeeper got there comfortably. It was only really a glancing touch as Maseko comes down the other end for South Africa, but then lost it with his last touch on the corner of the box. and Sitole is 35 yards out. Central position, 0-0. South Africa want a goal. They need a goal to keep the World Cup alive. And Maseko out to the far side left, picked up by Mofokeng, just outside the penalty area with red shirts of South Korea defending in number now. Remember, a point is good enough for them, a loss might not be. Nobody wants that jeopardy after the third and final game of the group stage. South Korean fans are roaring their side into action now. They're growing ever more frustrated as Bafana have it with a polished 35 yards out. Absorbed a meaty tackle. Now Mofokeng took a heavy touch when he might have shot on the edge of the area. It's cleared away by Son. And here comes South Korea on their right hand side with So Young-woo. Song Hyung-min 1-2ing with him, and now the right wing back is way over halfway. He's got Oh Hong-gyu to look for in the middle, but he played well a tame ball. It did cannon back off the defender Umbakazi, so it will be a throw in to South Korea 20 yards from the corner flag as Mexico score a second goal amid a party atmosphere both in Mexico City and in Guadalupe, and it's Julian Quiñones who has got his second goal of the World Cup. Making a change, by the way, South Africa. Osman Apolis is going to make way here, and Shapang Maremi, who plays for Orlando Pirates in the domestic league, plays on either flank, is going to come on. So his club mate replacing him. He's got his first international goal at AFCON. How South Africa would love to get a goal right now.
Have they got the individual that can stick it in the back? They've done everything else but score, haven't they? It's been a great performance and a great effort.
And they're going to have to at some point, but here they come forward now. Far side there left, they have it, corner of the area, crossed in towards the back post. Maseko! Tapelo Maseko has scored for Bafana. South Africa needed a goal and they have it now. He waited for the ball to come to him. He struck it well. It creeps in inside the post. The goalkeeper couldn't get there, and the South Africans celebrate. They've had so much of the play in this game. All they needed to do was put the ball in the net. That was what stood between them and potential success, a potential prolongation of their World Cup. And what a moment for them. Hugo Broos, the manager who thought his career might be ending in half an hour as retirement approaches, he is business as usual, out to talk to his players on the touchline. The job is not done, but they have taken a huge step forward. It is South Africa 1, South Korea 0.
Have they got somebody who can stick the ball in the back of the net? Yes, they have. Maseko is his name, and I tell you what, when this comes to him, he strikes it beautifully on the half volley with his left foot. Gets a lot of power, really, and no chance for the goalkeeper. It's just what they needed, the icing on the cake of a fantastic performance, and they deserve that.
Thoroughly, Alvin, thoroughly. It has been a game that switched this way and that way in terms of momentum, but if there's one team that has played better, it has been South Africa. They have a deserved lead, and they have to protect it for 27 minutes, because that means now that with Mexico already through as group winners, South Africa will be joining them. 4 points ahead of South Korea, who drop into third with 3. Crucially, they have a better goal difference than Scotland, so they know for the moment their fate hangs in the balance. But they came into this game knowing they needed only 1 point, and they're not even getting that at the moment. They're going to make a change in a moment with Park Jin-sub, who plays his football in China, a defensive midfielder. But they need a change in the score, and that is what they crave now.
Well, they knew coming into the game they needed a goal, they needed a win, and they've come up with the goods, and they've done everything, haven't they, to make that happen. Now South Korea have got to respond. What have they got?
Well, this will be their biggest test. They were behind in the first game of this World Cup that they played. They came back to beat Czechia. Can they do the same against South Africa? They just need the 1 goal, and it will all change again. 14 of their last 15 World Cup goals have come after half-time. They're going to need at least 1 in this game now, as Jens Kastrup, who was nutmegged for the goal by the finish of Tapelo Maseko, gives away a free kick in South Africa's right back position. And what a moment this could be for South African football, so long away from the World Cup. 16 years since they were last there as co-hosts, 24 years since they last qualified on merit, and they might be about to head into a game with Canada in the round of 32 in LA. But there's a long way to go yet as we see Kim Min-jae head off for Park Jin-sub. Slightly more attacking option. He plays in defensive midfield rather than centre-back. I wonder if this might be a shift to a back four.
Yeah, I think that's the way he's got to go, hasn't he? He's got to get the, certainly people in the right areas, and that's the way you do it.
And forward comes the ball from midfield. Everyone has to be an attacker now, really. Defensive midfielder or otherwise for South Korea. Not getting desperate just yet, but there is a real air of vulnerability about them. I have to find the belief that quality, so hard to quantify in football, but so important still. Forward from Lee Gi-hyuk. South Korea at the moment in that third place berth. Not sure of a place in the round of 32. Back it goes to halfway. We're waiting for it. Park Jin-sub with his first meaningful touches. Into Hwang In-bom. And now out to the right-hand side for South Korea. They've had plenty of the ball since that goal. The only goal of this game, with Mexico winning 2-0 still in Mexico City against Czechia. Here's a crossfield ball for the South Koreans. Jens Kastrup taking it down on his instep. Playing it back away from goal. It's now on the fringes of that final third that South Korea have it. Picked up by Park Jin-sub. He has come forward into that midfield. The game at a slow pace again now with South Africa, with everybody really behind the ball, bar at times Smakgopa leading the line. But they have forced South Korea back into their own half, and not only that, back to their goalkeeper. It's South Africa who lead 1-0 with 23 minutes to go, and I don't think this time that South Africa will mind a hydration break, given that they haven't touched the ball really since the ball hit the net.
No, that's right, but he haven't gone anywhere with it. South Korea, there's a lack of urgency coming about. They're fine keeping the ball here now, but move it quicker, get it in, get it out. Let's start moving this. Changing the direction of play. It's been very predictable from their point of view.
But there are big teams that have underwhelmed so far in this World Cup. You might say the same about the likes of Belgium, etc. Group action coming all the way through until it finishes in the early hours of the 28th. We've got 3 more days of all of this, and Scotland fans will be hanging on right until the very end, I am sure, to know their fate. They need to finish as one of the best 8 of the 12 third place teams. At the moment South Korea will be lumped in there with them. They cross on the right hand side. Can't find Oh Hong-gyu though. Crossed sent away by the South Africans up towards halfway, as it's picked up by the goal scorer Maseko. Set up by a substitute who had come on just a minute before in Chopang Moremi with the ball in. As a foul is called for, but we're going to actually head to the hydration break, so it will be a defensive free kick for South Africa when we return. 68 gone. South Africa 1, South Korea 0, and at the moment South Africa, who teams wrote off, surely, fans certainly did after that opening game, they are heading through as it stands with Mexico.
And it's been a great team performance by them tonight. Now, I think it was summed up really by the goal scorer right at the end of that, just before the break. He worked tremendously hard to get his team a foul. He's been able to get them on the score sheet. I think he epitomises their approach to this game. They've just sacrificed everyone's personal for the absolute ultimate team. And I think, it's been as good a team performance as you see anywhere, because South Korea are a good team. They've got some fantastic individuals in there.
spend a lot of time on the ball, and the concentration that's needed now from both teams, that's really going to start to pay.
Absolutely. I think in that break, it's the coach's last throw of the dice. Both valuable words that have been spoken in that break. But one thing is for sure, I think Hugo Broos will have said, look, you carry on doing what you're doing. You're doing everything perfectly. Just keep working, doing exactly what you've done. But they need some inspiration, South Korea. They need, obviously, something, because they are not playing well as a team. They're not playing as well as individuals. The Son's on, and he hasn't really had the required effect, because every time he gets the ball, he's being crowded out. And there's floods of gold shirts everywhere. They look like they've got a man more. That's how well they played.
Physical challenge there by South Africa. Far side the South Korean right. It might well be a yellow card for Aubrey Madiba. We've not had one yet in this game. Referee's just coming across to have a talk with him. I think he set a pretty even tolerance bar. But that one, if anyone was going to breach it, he was late, and indeed he has. Facundo Teixeira from Argentina gone to the book for the first time. And so the Bafana left back, Madiba, is on a yellow card for the final 18 minutes of this game.
Referee's been excellent again, Cameron.
He has.
He's been, somebody that's out control of the game, authoritative, let it flow. The players know where they stand with him. Been brilliant.
Well, Argentina make good footballers. They also make good referees. He's one of the best, Mr. Teixeira. And we haven't needed his video assistant either, who's also from Argentina so far. Happy that we can say that. Games have flowed well at this World Cup, but they're not flowing South Korea's way at the moment. 1-0 down they are against South Africa, and Bafana heading through with Mexico as it stands for a tie against Canada that will be played in LA on Sunday. 17 minutes to make that a reality. Precious little to write home about this game for the South Korean fans who've made the journey. It's 11:30 Korean time in the morning. Optimum viewing time for many who crowded the streets and the squares to watch the win in the opening round of games against Czechia when it looked oh so good. But it's really changed since then, as the final quarter of an hour beckons closer and closer. South Korea on the ball on halfway, going long with a crossfield pass, but too high for Jens Kastrup. And it was speculative, really. He was stretching his left boot out there, but couldn't bring it into his control. Goal kick, 1-0 South Africa.
Well, certainly coming into the game, and we were talking about how this game would go. I expected it to have goals in it because of the risk taking that South Africa would take. But I also expected South Korea to create chances and to, certainly have a goal. Look, there's still, maybe 20 minutes to go in this game. But, anything could happen. But up to now, they've been toothless, South Korea.
Well, they've made a change, South Korea. Cho Gyu-sun, striker, plays in Denmark. Has come on for Oh Hong-gyu. Scored a brace against Ghana in a 3-2 defeat at the last World Cup. It saw them lose, but ultimately it meant they reached the knockout stages. That's what they need. That's the energy they need for the closing stages of this one. Still 2-0 Mexico in Mexico City against Czechia, as now South Africa go to the bench as well. It's the striker. It's not going to be Lyle Foster, though. It's going to be Ikram Reyners, one of three to come out of the lineup for this game. Another to play for Mamelodi Sundowns, and he replaces the goal scorer at Tapelo Maseko in the front line.
Well, he's ran himself ragged. I can see that maybe he needs a break, and they've got someone on. He will hold the ball up, give him a chance of maybe a little respite, Rainer.
And South Africa are unbeaten in 4 previous World Cup matches when they've scored first. And a win is what they need. They're defending now, though. So Young-woo is trying to get there before the byline. It was a good through ball past the defence to get there. And the referee has pointed to the corner flag. It wasn't immediately clear which way it would go.
He's done well there. He's done really well for his team. Didn't look like there was any chance of getting a corner out of that. Looked like he was running out, but he's made something of it.
That's right as well. It's off Madiba. It was So Young-woo getting forward and got a cross in that wasn't going to go into the area. That was going out for a goal kick, but Madiba couldn't get out of the way. So we have a corner for South Korea, who know a goal can change everything. 1 point will satisfy their need, and it will hurt South Africa all over again. Song among those waiting in the middle, but it's a defensive header, and out it comes to the 18-yard box. Son battling to win the ball back for his team. He's fouled there by Kaliso Madao, and a free kick won by the South Korea captain. And near side there left, halfway inside the South African half, as the minutes tick down. We're into the 77th now, as a full house is called by the stadium compare. 53,000 in Guadalupe, many of them supporting Mexico. We've heard them cheer for both of their goals tonight in Mexico City. How will a South Korea goal be welcomed in? I should imagine well, given the prevalence of red shirts in the stands and also in the area as this cross comes in, headed away by the South African defence though. Picked up by Hwang In-beom, back into the centre circle, still at 1-0 South Africa. Lee Gi-hyuk down the left hand side, crossing in into the 18-yard box. Defensive clearance once more. None of these balls seem to be falling to South Korean men in the penalty area, Alvin.
No, I think, well, it's the team ethic, you know, the South Africa all round the ball.
Here comes So Young-woo out to the right hand side, now turning and twisting to try and get a cross away. Lee Kang-in is in there as well, he'll have it 35 yards out on the angle, left with a chip into the middle, but the defender Mbakazi was there again. Out and out defending now for South Africa. They're weathering this storm, but they've got a free kick there that was simply won by Aubrey Madiba. Lee Han-pom, the man to give it away, didn't need to commit there, just inside his own half. 78th minute of the game, South Africa 1, South Korea 0. Bafana heading through.
I think I'd be disappointed with South Korea as a team, but you know their main players. You know, looking at the leagues that they play in, Lee King-in has been really poor. You know, he's popped up on the left and he's on the right now and he's cutting in on his left foot, but I can't remember a significant pass that he's made. You know, and for somebody with that sort of talent, he's been a big disappointment tonight.
78 minutes, not favourable looking to the scoreboard for a South Korean fan. There'll be a big name to exit if they can't make it through, and one of them has picked up a yellow card as well. It's gone to Cho Gyu-sun, who's just come on and he's collided with Yaya Sitole, who's in some real pain. It was a high foot that missed the ball. Well, he actually just get a little bit of the ball, but it won't change anything because it catches his man right up high in the thigh. There's Cho Gyu-sun. It was more the follow through from the South African that caused the contact, but Gyu-sun will have gone down as endangering the safety of Yaya Sitole. And so the yellow card for the South Korea man. Not one of those already sporting a yellow card from their opening game. Counts as reset after the group stage. At the moment it's not guaranteed that South Korea will get past this stage at all. Here comes the free kick from Bafana, but headed away by So Young-woo. 18-yard box it falls. It's won again by South Korean heads. Out towards Bafana coming forward down the left with Mofokeng. Can't find a pass into the area, and Son hacks it clear for South Korea, but there's nobody up in red. Alvin Martin shaking his head next to me.
Well, again, it shows you, doesn't it, that South Korea being pressed back. They've respected that South Africa have been dangerous all night, and they're not going to have it all their own way. I think we've seen that from very early on in the game. So yeah, I think South Africa have matched South Korea everywhere, and the fact that, you know, like I said, they're not willing to leave two people up front shows that they respect the attacking dimension that they've shown tonight in South Africa.
1-0 it is. 10 minutes remaining, as we can see Relebehile Mofokeng coming over to the near side. He's been counted down here. They're making a substitution. They got right down towards the end of the count. I think he did make it off in time there. It was very close for another Orlando Pirates man. So he's withdrawn, and they've thrown on Jaden Adams, who is another to come out of the team for this game. Started both so far. Now on as a sub for the most important game of them all. 10 minutes remaining. South Korea 1-0 up and heading through in second.
Well, I've got to say at the moment, Cameron, you know, I'm looking at this game and the way it's unfolding, and I'm looking at South Korea. Do they look like they've got a goal in? No, they don't. I mean, I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a chance somewhere between now and the end of the game, but, you know, they've been toothless all night.
Not going their way. The men on the field. Only Hwang In-beom has scored at this World Cup for South Korea. South Africa have made that like-for-like swap in the centre of midfield with Adams brought in, as South Korea begin at a slow pace again, on halfway. They have it with Lee Gi-hyuk. They need a goal to keep their fate in their own hands. They're third as it stands. Their pass through towards Jens Kastrup has missed him completely, and Madao plays an easy ball back to his goalkeeper, who clears long over halfway, with South Africa leading South Korea by a 1-0 on TalkSport 2. Action begins again tomorrow night tonight I should say, from 9 p.m. Germany versus Ecuador in Group E on TalkSport. Here comes Jens Kastrup down the line for South Korea, trying to get around his defender, and he's grappling there with Yaya Sitole, and is forced to go out of the attacking third once again. There might still be a crossing opportunity. Jens Kastrup can't get his way through. Back away from goal, they're forced to go once again. Now it's just in from the touchline with Lee Kangin, dropping deeper and deeper to try and get anything going. Plenty of red shirts up the field, but still, as you said, Alvin, they don't look like scoring.
No.
They don't look like creating chances.
Well, they'll know what they're doing. The South African team, they know what they're doing. They're plugging every little gap in there.
They have found it ever so slightly. A half gap here for Jens Kastrup on the left-hand side. Got a cross in, but put it between the three red shirts. Easy clearance again for South Africa. It's simple stuff at the moment. They're being made to defend, but not necessarily having to work hard, as they eye up second place. That game against Canada in the round of 32 on the weekend. Referee has given a foul for a high foot from a South Korean man. He tried to see the advantage go there, but it was only on halfway the ball fell to Maremi. So we're going to go back for the initial free kick, which seems a smart way of playing it. Although he might have gone for South Korea here, actually, because he has given it to South Korea, because although it was a high foot from one, it was a high foot from the other, and Jaden Adams actually made contact. The referee's giving it that way. Long ball downfield for Jens Kastrup, getting a cross in from the left flank, but again he's missed all the red shirts. Couldn't find anyone in there. It remains 1-0 South Africa, and they clear again.
Well, he's had his first touch, and he's fired the ball across the face of goal, hoping that somebody was going to be there. But really, he's got to get his head up, know that he's got to have another touch, and he's got to wait for somebody to arrive. But that's been a facet of their play that's been poor all night.
On halfway it is. South Korea still need that goal, still in third. Better record than Scotland's. That's one team then that they've betted, but worse than Bosnia's. And those results will continue to trickle in over the next few days. They don't want to be in that category. They know that a point was all they needed from this game to secure second place. At the moment, that's going to South Africa. Right hand side of the area, South Korea still have it. Cross comes in, but straight towards the defender, and another easy header away for Mbakazi. And we've seen it time and time again. South Korea standing on the ball, Alvin, walking pace. Yeah. There's no incision here.
I don't think there's any belief. Again, that ball's just been delivered in there. Hopefully, somebody's going to get at the end of it. No, there's no real precision. There's no really belief in what you're trying to do. I mean, look, you're playing in a World Cup. You're playing against good players. You've got to have more to it than just helping the ball in and hoping somebody's going to get at the end of it.
Right hand side again for South Korea. They're trying to cross this ball. They've got too many yellow shirted defenders in the way. Back it goes to Lee Han Pom. 10 yards inside the South Africa half. Down the line for So Young Woo, who got a cross in. That one's headed away, but behind for a corner by Yaya Sitole. And it's the first time in a long time that one of those headers hasn't been immediately cleared.
Yeah, but look at the spirit within that side. They've had lots of possession in and around the edge of the box. Countless times they've delivered the ball in, but there's always been a gold shirt on the end of it.
Red shirts abounding, waiting in the middle. Here comes the corner from the South Korean right. The goalkeeper came, and Williams punched it with two hands. Got it about 10 yards, and his defenders were able to do the rest. It's gone 100 yards downfield, and there's nobody in that half bar the South Korean goalkeeper Kim Sung-gyu. I'm sure we'll probably see him in the other half soon before long, with South Korea wanting a goal. Probably worth, isn't it? Risking another. At the moment they're fourth in the standings of third place teams, behind Bosnia, Sweden and Croatia, crucially ahead of Scotland, as they have it near side their left with Son towards the penalty area. Cut back from Kastrup, found the defender's boot again and cleared away. Jaden Adams it was. South Africa doing everything they can. It's a corner though, this time near side the South Korean left, and it's to be taken by Son, and he wastes no time, floats it into the back post. There are red shirts and Mark, flick back into the middle, and there were men on the edge of the box. The shot does come in from distance, but it's wayward and disappointing from So Young Woo. He's never scored for his country. He wasn't about to there. Somebody needs to, or South Korea might be heading out of the World Cup after the group stage.
Well, five minutes of normal time, and 1-0 to South Africa. South Korea lots of the ball, lots of possession. But I don't sense, there's no visible sign of any panic in South Africa's team. Certainly that defence looks just as solid now as it did at the start of the game.
Still waiting for the test to come. Well, rather not waiting, they're hoping it doesn't. It's South Korea who are waiting for the test to really be mounted, but they haven't shown that they have the fortitude to deal with this. Their reserve goalkeeper, Jo Hyung-woo, has just run across out of the technical area to retrieve a ball and send it back for a throw-in to South Africa, or a free kick I should say, just inside the touchline, because they want to get this game restarted, and the referee is of the same opinion. He wants Bafana to get the ball moving with Moreni, who does play it from 45 yards out down the right hand flank, but to a defender. Only half cleared though. Here comes Sitole, almost dead central in the South Korean half. South Africa one up and heading through. South Korea remaining in limbo as they have it back now with Kim Jin-yu halfway inside their own half. He's gone straight route one down the field. Cho Gyu-sun now right hand side of the area, doubled up on though, has done well to win a throw-in 15 yards adjacent to the corner flag. Defenders just coming back from South Africa. They had a lot of men further up the field. Risky business there, but the delay in the throw-in has allowed them to get men behind the ball again. They lead 1-0.
You've got to admire the spirit within the South African team. It really is. They're fighting for each other. High fives everywhere when there's a tackle, or where somebody's done something good. There's a real togetherness. That's the way they look.
It's one of those things that's sometimes mocked, isn't it? Having team spirit, having togetherness. It's one of those that's overlooked for actual quality on the field. There's a bit of the movie about it, but it's working for them now. All playing for one another. And there's another defensive tackle in from Mbakazi against Hwang In-bom, who's gone down with what looks like cramp there as he tried to get forward, and he just limps out of the tackle. It's come to Sombo 30 yards out. His shot was blocked at source, and it's not going to go for a corner either. It will be a throw-in as some treatment is needed for Hwang In-bom. He's going to get some cramp treatment on a heavily strapped left leg. In fact, he's going to refuse it. He wants to get back up, and it seems carry on and help his team's plight. 2 minutes left of normal time. 1-0 South Africa are leading South Korea. South Africa holding second place. A goal for South Korea will change all that. They just need a point to go through in second place. As the cross comes in from the left, Lee Gi-hyuk it was, defensive header away once again with Ocon. Dropping favourably for Bafana. Giving it away though on the edge of their box. Now come the red shirts of South Korea into the 18-yard box. A scramble to win the ball back, and it's popped away by Kaliso Madao. And he smacked it crossfield. I think he's hurt himself in doing so. He just rubbed the back of his right hamstring, but he walloped it 40 yards across field into the advertising hoardings. As we approach the final of 90 minutes, it's still South Africa 1, South Korea 0.
Whenever Son collects the ball anywhere in and around the edge of the box of South Africa, they're swarming around him, yellow shirts all over him. He hasn't had an inch of space to be able to utilise, and I got to say, no sign of tiredness, no sign of panic. They're looking pretty comfortable at this moment in time.
Well, if they don't concede, South Africa, they are going through to play Canada in a round of 32. A goal would likely see them out of contention for one of those third place spots, given the fact they only have 2 points. They have to make sure they don't concede. Attention is more on that than scoring a second goal, understandably. But they've got that ball all wrong, because Ime Ocon played the ball out of defence and put it straight out of play in the South Korean right back position. The Mexican fans in the stands are celebrating their side, cruising 100% their record. The first host nation to win all 3 group games since Germany in 2006. Nobody has matched them in this group. 5 unanswered goals. It's Czech Republic who will be bottoming out definitively, and for the moment South Korea hanging on in a third place spot as we enter 6 added minutes at the end of the game.
Well, that's the sign of you're South Korean. That's the sign to up it, give everything, go on, get the ball in there, attack everything, and look for the second ball.
Can't leave anything on the pitch now, and the cross might be about to be coming from the right hand side. Well, it was blocked off in the end for Lee Kang-in. Couldn't get it out of his feet. Takes a throw in quickly, goes towards halfway. They've got everybody, South Africa, pinned in behind the ball. And the turnovers are getting a little bit quicker from the South Korean side. Crossing again from the right, missed all the men in red though, headed clear towards the corner of the box where So Young-woo tries to take it down, but couldn't, and he's struggling with cramp as well. He's just stopped there with his hands on his knees. His teammates behind him have picked up the ball with Lee Gi-hyuk. centre circle at 1-0 down, South Korea. 1 minute of 6 elapsed. In it goes from Kim Jin-yu, again a header away from Makazi, picked up by Matt Gopa in the centre circle. Striker seeing very little of the ball now. He won't mind it. His side are destined for knockout football. What a chance for South Africa. What a moment it would be for them. Jens Kastrup, corner of the box for South Korea, meandering into the 18-yard box where Son is waiting. Sent it back into the pocket. Red shirts are all around. They're screaming for it on the corners of the area. Here it is with Hwang In-bom, crossing towards the back post. It's high, it's kept alive towards Cho, but headed behind for a corner. Brave defending by the South Africans. They've lasted again, and with nearly 2 minutes of the 6 played additionally, they are fighting. Every single man with a job to do. They are laying it on the line in a physical game. And the header sent behind for a corner. Another for South Korea.
Again, great defending, getting themselves around the ball, sticking their head on balls. Tremendous spirit.
And here it comes from the right-hand side, curling in. Oh, Cho wasn't marked for a moment. The defender just closed him down, headed away on the 6-yard line. That could have been the goal that South Korea needed. They have it again, but 40 yards out. Now near side the left, towards the penalty area. Jens Kastrup outside of the boot. Oh, and the goalkeeper juggled it, but saved it. Park Jin-sob might have got a touch from close range. It was a cross-come shot from the man on the left. Played it with the outside of his boot. It was swirling. And if Park Jin-sob got a touch, it was only a delicate one. A stronger one might have taken it away from the goalkeeper, who saw it late. But it is a catch for Ronwen Williams, and it remains 1-0 to South Africa, who are coming forward here. Second goal would really confirm it. Nick Rain has had it, but sensibly, seeing he's got no support, he's gone backwards. And with nearly half of the 6 added minutes elapsed, Bafana Bafana are still heading to the knockouts for the first time.
I must admit, the last 5-10 minutes for South Africa, it hasn't been composed, has it? They haven't been able to get hold of the ball. It's all hands on deck. Everybody throwing themselves in front of balls, blocks. It's been a rear guard sort of action, but they've done it so well, and he's got to be so proud of them. The manager there, 74 years old, vastly experienced. I can't imagine there's been too many performances he'd be more proud of than this one, Hugo Broos.
Set to retire. I hope he's not booked a retirement holiday for after the group stages. He'll be cancelling it very, very swiftly. They've peaked at the right time in the most important game, South Africa. 2.5 minutes of added time remaining, and Bafana Bafana have the ball in the South Korean half of the field. Near side the South Africa, right it is now. In comes the cross, but it was weak from Reynes and cleared by Lee Kang-in over halfway. South Korea need their giants now to try and win this ball and get something out of the game for them. A draw is enough. They're not getting one as it stands, as Mexico go 3-0 up in the game against Czechia. Cruising through as group winners. At the moment it's South Africa who are joining them as news filters through of that Mexican goal. Will cheers from South Africans be following? They've only ever won 2 World Cup games out of 11. The first in 2002 against Slovenia, the last time they qualified on merit. They beat France at home in 2010, but went out on goal difference. This time they will be going through if they can last for 90 more seconds. Taken down in defence by Mbakazi, but he fires it away on the half volley and out for a throw on halfway to South Korea.
Well, they're just lumping it anyway now, aren't they, South Africa? And I've got to say that even South Korea, they're just lumping it into the penalty area, just hoping that someone's going to drop on it. And well, look, it's been a game that you thought, is there going to be some quality for South Korea? I can't remember a moment, Cameron, honestly, I can't remember a moment.
Chip forward from Lee Kang-in into the penalty area. That could have been the moment, because again, Cho Gyu-sun was given licence to roam, but the ball wasn't heavy enough. Maybe that cross a moment ago from Jens Kastrup, the goalkeeper seemed to fumble and caught. That's about as close as they've come, but it's not a real chance. It's not a proper chance that they've had. And South Korea start again in their final minute of 6 now to find a goal. Awkward clearance that time from the South Africans. At the second time of asking, Madao puts it into touch up by halfway. With 40 seconds, the clock ticking down. South Africans in the crowd, holding their breath, waiting for this historic moment in South African sport. They've never played in the second stage of a World Cup finals. This is their 4th time. This might be the successful time. Up to halfway they go now. Just need to run the clock down. Forward with Reynes 30 yards out. Plays a through ball into the penalty area. Goalkeeper's come for it and got there just ahead of the advancing Maremi. But now here they go. Oh, they're nearly giving it away. They nearly gave it away at the back there, South Korea. Passes between centre-backs when it needed to go forward. They've got 10 seconds remaining to find a goal. Their ball does go long, but goes back into South African clutches. They're waiting for the whistle, and there it is! South Africa are through! They've qualified from the group for the first time in their history.